welcome to my bakery. Now I know what you're thinking. I'm a girl, not supposed to be working here, but my father's sick and he'll likely get the sack if I'm not working in his place. After all, bread is a daily commodity in Elizabethan life. Good bakers such as my father are employed by nobles in their castles, and if he sneezed on their bread, we'd be beheaded faster than you can say Queen Elizabeth. Living in Elizabethan life, poor people like me have humble and, well, let's face it, boring diets, consisting mostly of bread, fish, cheese, and ale. But the rich and the nobles of Elizabethan England, they eat plenteously. All kinds of meat are served, like lamb, beef, mutton, pork, bacon, veal, and rabbit. Well, let's just say they eat a lot better than us. The nobles don't like vegetables and fruit very much, though. They're kind of suspicious of them. But they do like their roasted and boiled meat with bread. That's where my father comes in. My father hopes to find me a husband, so there will be one less mouth to feed. He's looking for a hard worker, and there are plenty of them among us peasants. But what kind of husband would I like? That's the question. Now, what about a barber's son? Now, the barber not only is a barber, but he's also a dentist, a surgeon, and a bloodletter. Now, the barber says that when people get sick, it's because they either have too much blood in them or their blood has gone bad. So he cuts the sick person in a few places and lets some of the blood out. And they get better. Well, sometimes they die. Maybe I'd rather not marry a barber. But there's also the blacksmith's son. Okay. Blacksmiths not only have the most important, but also the most lowly jobs in England. They forge weapons, sharpen weapons, and repair armor for war and for jousting. We couldn't do without them. They also have big, strong muscles, and yet they are very sweaty. I guess the blacksmith just isn't for me. Now, there's the carpenter's son, which strangely also uses one of these. The carpenters build furniture, roof buildings, panel the nobles' rooms, and carve beautiful designs in the king's castle. The nobles like carpenters. They like them a lot, and consider them to be skilled craftsmen. Now that's a thought. Well, next is a gong farmer, in case you don't know, is a man who removes human gong, or as you might call it, fertilizer. They remove it from privies and cesspits. Gong farmers are not only allowed to work overnight. The gong they collect, what I like to call night soil, has to be taken outside the castle or village. Gogfarbers have to dig out the cesspits once every 2 years. But I hear Queen Elizabeth pays 6 pence a day for her Gogfarber. That's how much, that's more than my father makes. And even if a Gogfarber's rich, he still smells. He's not for me. Now there is a son of a butler. The butler cares for the noble cellar, and he's in charge of large butts and little butts. Oh, it's not what it sounds like. Butts are bottles of wine or beer. Butlers are also in charge of larger staff of people. Brewers, dispensers, and cupbearers. But I also hear they drink a lot. I don't want a husband who is a drunk. And there's also the moneylender's son. Moneylenders are the equivalent of Elizabethan bankers. They loan money, but they also charge interest. Sometimes if you can't pay, they may take your child or your land. I hear they might even take a pound of flesh. You may have heard of a man called Shylock. He was a moneylender. Don't borrow money from him. It may hurt. No, a moneylender is not for me. Now there is one more. The jester's son. The jester is also referred to as the fool. Court jesters are responsible for bringing a smile to the face of the queen and her court when they are angry or feeling unwell. Jesters wear bright-colored clothes and tell jokes. They act like they're crazy, just to get a laugh. Sometimes jesters are used to give bad news to royalty. That's how some of them have lost their heads. I think I want a wise husband who will keep his head. But who to choose? There's a door in our shop that needs to be fixed, and, well, we haven't fixed it for a while just because we don't have the money. But a carpenter does, and the tools, and that's it. I'll marry a carpenter. Okay, my name is Natalie Davies, and this little performance that you just saw was one of my Shakespeare presentations. And what I did in class, I didn't bring in all this. I did have the accessories though for each of the jobs, and I had people come up from the audience, from the class, and each person I would give like something that represents the job they had, and then I would have them stand up there for the class and talk about the job that they had, and I would have them sit down, and I would do that throughout the whole thing. And then when I ended, I gave them all a treat, which I gave them these little meat pasties and apple juice, and I called it ale. And so that's how it went. And you don't have to go all out, but it's really fun if you do. And Sister Gagan says to go all out when you do this, and I'd like to thank her for the accessories that helped make this. And when you do a presentation, just have fun with it. Don't be boring, just have fun. Thank you.